Hello and welcome to the Thrive Tribe Introduces. And today I have the pleasure of having Adam Watters, web designer, with us. Hi, Adam.
Hi, Mark.
I'm going to kick off straight away. Most people know what web designer is, but can you tell us a little bit about your background and how you've got to this point?
Yeah, so my background, yes, first of all, yeah, thank you for having me on. I'm really looking forward to I haven't done many podcasts before. I've done like a couple short ones, but yeah, I'm really looking forward to sort of getting into the spaces and everything a little bit more. But yeah, a bit about me is so originally what sort of started me off in my whole journey was I came to Lincoln for university in 2021, I want to say. So just after COVID. And yeah, I joined this course called Business with Entrepreneurship. And through that, they sort of try the reason it I chose that course is because they push you towards setting up your own business and support you around that. And the whole sort of dissertation work, if you like, is based around you setting up your business and doing analysis on the progress of it and everything like that. So I had so during like my second year, I had a couple of rubbish ideas, to be honest. There was things like I didn't really know what I was going to do. I was just like, didn't know what my business was going to be. I was just doing sort of random businesses to get just something to do in the module. So I had stuff like a random book app and then like this LED company idea and stuff like that. And then during my break between summer of second year and third year, I was working at this like warehouse gig. And during that time, I used to listen to a lot of podcasts, just random ones like Joe Rogan and then like business ones as well. And then on a couple of my breaks, whilst just on like Instagram and everything, these YouTube gurus kept popping up, sort of selling social media marketing courses at like, it'd be like 3 grand or something stupid. And obviously, I didn't go and buy those courses, but it made me think a lot more about the space. So I took that idea of wanting to get into marketing into my third year and sort of learned more about the space and spoke to my tutor uh, just about more how I want to get into it. And I'm really interested in doing it as a career. And he put me in touch with someone called Tommy who runs the identity agency. He's done a bit for UMark with the website and everything. Um, yeah, so he got me in touch with him, and I've been now doing an internship with him. But it's more like it's like freelance now, but it started off as an internship. Yeah, so I've been with him for over 2 years and I'm doing a bit of everything, really learning the processes behind a marketing agency. And then from there, really, probably I'd say 3, 4 months after I started the internship, I did a website project for my parents. So working on that really got me interested in web design. Then I did a couple of projects for my friends, and really over the past 8 months, I've been pushing my business and going more on the route of doing my own web design business and just moving forward and feeling like it's actually a proper business that I want to pursue.
Honestly, that's really good. And
Yeah,
what I love about that is obviously you started off with the studying. It's obviously there to to get your ideas and career flowing, and literally used it as a catalyst, as you
yeah.
say, to have an internship,
Hmm.
to be learning about stuff, and then literally put it into practice. Whereas a lot
I
of
think
people that go to uni obviously will do the studies and then they struggle when they come out the other end because they've got all the academic side but they
yeah.
haven't had any practical experience.
I
So
think that's almost like linking into that point. I think currently how like the academic system's set up, I think the issue is it's all theory based. And a lot of it is you come out and you know all these random theories for like bigger businesses and bigger entities, but you don't actually learn the applicable skills. So that's something I've almost fallen into, but something I'm really happy I did do during my time in university. And it's something I like if I'm speaking to people who are in first year, I say like whatever you do, just do something in the industry you want to get into. Because I know so many people now who have left university, they've got the degree, but they're really struggling to find work, especially in business, because everyone's got a business degree, to be honest. So it's yeah, I think if you're in university, especially if like students, it's worth not even you don't even have to do a side hustle, but can you get a job or part-time job that can support you and push your career forward with that experience? Because the experience at the end of the day is like more important than the just having that degree checkbox.
yeah, definitely. And I love that advice. I think I think anyone who goes to university nowadays needs to find something that they really have a love and a passion for. You know,
Yeah,
as I say, I love what you've done in terms of you've actually even partway through the course, you know, you were thinking, listening to podcasts, thinking of how you could develop, and you took the internship and you've really taken that forward.
yeah,
Have you
yeah. And
always? Sorry, after you.
no, I was just, I don't even know where I was going to lead with that point, but yeah, yeah, carry on.
Have you always been in the creative space even before university?
Um, I'd say no. I've never thought of myself as a creative. I think the again linking back to school, I think when you hear of creative, especially in sort of like primary, secondary school, it's you think a lot more about drawing, artists, that type of thing. So anything sort of like I never heard about anything digital or anything in that sort of space and moving to that. So I never like a lot of my family are quite creative in different ways, but I never viewed that as creative, if that makes sense. Like my parents have always been business owned. My dad's always had his own business, and my mum's now pursuing her own business. So I guess it's now I look at it as yes, I grew up with certain creative people around me, but it's it's a different view now how I sort of look at creative, if that makes sense, because I see creative as a thing where it's you're being able to look at a situation and address different problems differently rather than just being able to pick up a pen and paper and draw a design or anything like that.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah, just wonder where the creative bit came from, and I think
Yeah,
you hit the nail on the head about primary and secondary school nowadays. There's going to be jobs that the children leave school with nowadays that don't even exist for us, and the same as
yeah,
our parents and grandparents. You know, the whole world has changed in terms of everything going digital and apps and everything else. And I think the children who are at school now, there'll be jobs out there that just don't even exist
yeah,
at the moment. But by the
yeah,
time they leave,
100%.
there will.
Yeah. And I don't know what schools are like talking teaching about digital marketing now or like the online space, social media. I have honestly no clue because obviously I was doing my GCSEs back in 20 I want to say 16, but I feel like that's not right. No, 20, one of the years anyway. But yeah, I don't know what it's like now, but I looking back, I definitely think that when I went to school, it was about right, you get your GCSEs so you can go do your A levels. You go do your A levels so you can go to university. You go do university so you can get into high a high job. And there's not really there was I had a couple teachers, like my business teacher was the one who really got me inspired into business, and that's why I chose it for A level. And that's why I've basically been on this path. I think it's a lot down to him actually making me excited about business. But I think apart from that, there's not a lot out, well, there wasn't a lot of out stuff in school to push you to entrepreneurship.
Yeah,
It's and that's almost the problem with like schooling and the way people view entrepreneurship is they think it's like this unstable, risky thing, which is not pushed on to people as much. And I think that's something really lacking because the entrepreneurship skills, you can be like an entrepreneur going into a business and having that entrepreneurial mindset and being able to like diversify and change companies in different ways. And it's basically a mindset entrepreneurship rather than actually being a business owner.
yeah. I love that, and I think back to to the people that I've never left school, even the younger people that I know now, and you're completely right, isn't it? There are business courses that you can study at school, but entrepreneurship, we look at like people like Alan Sugar, um, Richard Branson, they ditched out of school quite early. Obviously, back in the
Yeah.
day, you were allowed to. But
Yeah.
obviously, the careers that they've had by using the entrepreneurial spirit, I think it's something that everyone
Yeah.
should do. And I think
100%.
probably like yourself and like myself, I came into business because I'd seen my father grow his own things, and same with your dad as well. And
Hmm.
it's kind of like I think if you've got it in the family, then I think you're far more likely to follow that kind of route. And as I say,
Yeah.
it should be a career option. So as you say,
Yeah.
if you want to go and get academia, then absolutely brilliant. Nothing wrong with that. But obviously, if you want to start your own thing, we should have some
Yeah.
basic lessons of school about it because everyone has
I
the
think so.
capabilities.
Yeah.
No matter what grades that you get at school, it has no bearing on the fact if you've got an entrepreneurial bone in your body, then you can
yeah,
achieve anything you want to do.
yeah. And I don't think it's something you're born with either. I think it's something that develops over time by different situations and how you sort of deal with different people. And I think, again, linking to what you said about your dad owning a business, my dad owning a business, and sort of it's something where I think entrepreneurship, you see it in people and it inspires you, where that's what the sort of like schooling system should take into place. They should have where they got speakers coming in speaking about their business, even if it's slight stuff like that, where it's like almost clicking in people's minds a bit more that, oh, this is an option to go down, and it opens your mind a lot to a lot more different things, I think.
Yeah, no, definitely. It's funny because my all of our kids in different ways have shown entrepreneurial spirit. One, just a quick story. My eldest, couple of years ago, when Prime was first coming about, and they were selling Prime
Yeah.
at the shops for like three,
Yeah.
£4. But
Yeah.
he managed to buy a whole crate of it just after lockdown, I think, when the kids were first went back to school, and I think he was
Yeah.
paying about £1.50 a bottle, but then
Yeah.
he was reselling it at school for double. And
Yeah.
I actually got a phone call from the head of year basically saying that Matthew's
Yeah.
been caught reselling it at school, and my immediate thing was, oh, well done,
Proud.
entrepreneurial
Yeah.
spirit. But the school didn't take the same view as me, and so I did have to agree in the end. But from my point of view, it's like,
Yeah.
if there's he's bought something, he knows there's a market
Mm.
for it. He's
Yeah.
doubled his money on every item that he sells, and he continues to show that flair. And it's just
Yeah.
and I don't want to hamper that, because at the end of the day, if he keeps doing that all throughout his life, he'll be fine. He's got good
Hmm.
communication skills. Yeah, if he understands the
Yeah.
finances, the things in business, then even
Yeah. But he's obviously got that from you and Lucy, because you have been owning your own business and own your own business currently, and he's obviously got that. I think it's kind of crazy to me the fact that schools don't encourage that type of thing.
yeah,
Like, surely if you see a kid who's trying to get into entrepreneurship, he's trying to start his own little thing, even if it's just selling drinks, like, what's the problem? I guess you got like money and like issues, but like, what realistically, what's the issue with
yeah,
selling a drink to mates at school, trying to sort of do a little business side hustle? There's nothing wrong with that. And I think it's just the way like schooling systems are set up, they aren't set up to promote that, and it shouldn't be that way.
yeah, definitely. I think even now this year, I think milkshakes. I think he did for about 6 weeks as well.
Nice.
When the school increased their price of their milkshakes. Well,
Yeah.
Amazon found exactly the same milkshakes, the ones that the school was selling for £1, and he was
Yeah.
really selling them at 75p. But it just makes me
Yeah.
smile. I didn't get a phone call this time, but
Nice. Yeah.
but yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah.
Sorry, I digress. So back to adamwaters.co.uk. So what is your
Yeah.
mission?
So my mission is, I guess it's based around helping my current mission. I have ideas for the future and where I want to take my business, but as I'm in the sort of founding and I'm not even in the startup stage. I'm starting to get more established, I guess, is the phrasing for it. But my mission is to help businesses who say they have like a basic brand or a basic sort of website, and they're looking to get that professional sort of overall online presence. They're looking to build themselves online, but don't have the massive funds to do so. I'm looking to help those type of businesses, because I think the thing with marketing and online branding and web design is such so often underlooked by small businesses, but it's such a key thing, because nowadays, like, people don't, like, if someone's going to go to a cafe example for some reason goes to my mind, but if someone's going to a cafe, they're going to search up on Google, and then from there they're going to see, oh, click on website, they'll have a look at the website, see photos, and they'll get a sort of presence. You almost want to prove your business before people get there. And I think when people come to sort of work, like, buy a product or a service from a business, and they see online actually it doesn't look that professional, it doesn't look that good, it turns people off. And it's those perceptions which I'm trying to help businesses understand they need to change.
No, I love that, and I'm totally in agreement. It's kind of like, if you were going somewhere and you couldn't find a website for it, I often say to the
Yeah.
people that we teach, you just wouldn't go, because it's like
Yeah,
if you've not got a website which doesn't show, if it's a cafe, a menu, or at least pictures of the inside, if you can't be found on Google, then as you say, not everybody, some people will just go off the back of it, but most of us will obviously always have a look at a review. Do they have a
yeah,
website? And it's that whole,
yeah,
social proof, isn't it, before you even get
yeah,
there, so you know what you've got to
exactly.
expect.
And that's what I want to get into. I want to get into in the future at some point. So my main goal is grow my sort of business. I love the website design part, but I understand the importance of, especially if you're doing online branding for a company, it has to encompass the whole business across every sort of social media, across every channel, every sort of touch point online. So my plan is at some point, once I get established, is to niche down into a certain industry, but cover a wide range of different sort of services. Obviously, that you need to reach a certain size to get there because you need to start getting people in, start paying. There's more like overhead, so there is a certain point that you have to get established first before you do that. But I definitely understand that. Like I always have it in the back of my head that it's the website, but they can have a like a really good website, but ultimately if their social media post about it is rubbish, or if where their Google people search up on Google and there's no images and it looks like a fake business with no reviews, they're not going to click onto it. So I keep that back in my mind, and that's why when I work with small businesses, I speak to them about what they're currently doing, and also I even though I don't sell as a service, I sort of give advice as well on different marketing stuff they can do, because I think that extra advice is like clinical.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I say I think the advice you give businesses, especially because you are the expert in your field, I think is really invaluable as well. Let's see, even if they
Yeah,
don't want to take you up on it now, at least they'll understand going forward about, it's not just the web page you're creating, but further down the line, this is what you could do, and this is the reasons why. And I think as they say, power is knowledge, isn't it? So it's great you're
yeah,
giving that little extra advice, to the people that you help.
100%. Yeah, yeah, and I think that that's important, especially if like I think it relates to any business, to be honest. Like anything you're selling or a service you're providing, it's like what you did with the Thrive Tribe. It's not just, oh, okay, well we're doing a coaching every so often, we're having the calls, we're meeting up every so often. It's that extra sort of support, like knowing that, oh, okay, if I text you an idea, you'll get back straight away. Like send me a voice note about what I could do, like pick up on some ideas, and it's that extra sort of support around what you're doing, which is the real value.
Yeah. As I say, I tend to have ideas and thoughts about everyone's business that we help at the most strangest of times. So the whole idea of the voice note is I can get it back out to you quickly before I forget
Yeah,
what I thought.
yeah. Yeah, and
um,
again, that worked really well with like the landing page campaign. That was a really good idea, and that's like meant that I can get in with these small businesses because it's addressing sort of the price point at a lower end, and but it's still beneficial enough to me.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
again,
definitely.
it's like ideas like that I wouldn't even thought of, but it's what having. That's why coaching is valuable, because it's having those extra sort of, oh, have you tried this? Thinking someone who's outside your business, being able to be like, oh, actually this might be cool for you to do. It is like really, really valuable.
Yeah, thank you. And likewise, returning the compliment, I saw a website. I think you must have just released it this week for
Yeah.
somebody that does property.
Yeah.
What was the problem you were trying to solve for that company?
So the company, so she started a business in 2023, I think. So she's been doing it since 2020, but like established the business in 2023. And I think she had a website briefly before, but it was a templated one, using Ionis, I think was well, it's like the sort of bigger template company. Um, and yeah, that went down, but she understood the value of having somewhere to direct people to. Um, so we got in touch, and I sort of understood what she was ultimately trying to get out the website, like speaking about what is like her missions, like where does she want to direct. And her main goal was, she's on Airbnb, is where she's currently selling her, well, I can't even think of the word, but yeah, putting her property on, listing her property on, so people can stay. And the Airbnb takes something like 30%. They take like a huge amount off. So she wanted a platform where she can direct people to basically manage it herself and be a self-sufficient business. And again, I think the website although it just released, well, it officially released today, but we haven't done any posts about it yet. I think I'm really happy with the results, and I think it's going to be a really valuable asset to just to be able to direct people. And again, it proves, because it's just currently her, it almost makes the business seem bigger than it is. So she can have so when she's going to say get some investment for property or something like that, it makes it feel more like a business, so people feel more comfortable working with her. And again, that links back in just like building that online trust.
Yeah, definitely. And I'd say from what I know exactly what you mean, because when you look at the website now, um, it's really good. And I say, as you say, it just gives that impression that there's lots of properties, and this is a company that's got lots of history, because just
Yeah,
the way that it's displayed, and that professional nature, isn't it? As I say, I know we you can use templates and things, but when you engage with like a proper designer with a proper background, as much as we think what templated websites can create, it's not half as good as the work that you do. You have the eye
yeah,
for detail, and making things come onto the screen look nicely, and the
yeah,
load up times and everything else. I know there's a whole science behind it, but that's your background,
yeah,
isn't it? And that's why you
yeah,
put your
yeah, exactly. And because the way I manage to work with lower budgets is I use certain templates and then make them bespoke to brands. So make them bespoke to different businesses and then change them slightly. And that ultimately saves me the time, so I can, because I price, well, I price by project, but ultimately what I'm charging for is my time. So I'm able to reduce my time, so it means I can reduce that price. And although, like, you may say, oh, okay, yeah, it's a template site, it's the same as Wix, it's completely different because it's bespoke and it's changed, and there's like different responsiveness, where it means even on like mobile or tablet it's going to be like perfect for you, and then you can bring in your own branding and everything like that. And it's more my eye now. And linking back to working with Tommy, I think one of the most valuable thing Tommy taught me was he is so, I don't know if OCD is the word, probably the word, but so attention to detail about design stuff. And sort of when I was designing bits for him, or I'd be designing stuff, you can pick up on, even if it's like 2 pixels out, you can see it and be like, that's not right. Like, oh, there's 2 pixels here, even like, and it's spotting that stuff. And really him installing that into me has meant that I've got this, I can look at a website now and I can be like, oh, well, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that. That's cool. That's cool. I wouldn't do that. So it's like having that point of view where it's that deeper sort of understanding of what a website could be, which I think is the value that it brings.
I also know that doing the research before the podcast is the attention to detail you have when you first come into contact with somebody. So I think the example that I want to use is the fact that I know that you want to just not create something completely different for them, but you want it to match in with their current branding. Because obviously, a lot of the
Yeah,
smaller businesses would have potentially paid somebody a little bit of money to create a logo. They might have even used an online, designing tool to design their logo. But whereas some companies would probably come in and say, "Oh no, that's rubbish," you know, throw it away.
scrap out.
Let me
Yeah,
charge you £1,000 just for doing your logo.
yeah,
You
yeah,
actually use what they currently have. You take
yeah,
the time to understand what the business needs and wants, and
yeah,
then design it from that way, which I thought was quite
yeah.
unique.
I think so. I think that's, again, linking like what you said there is spot on about understanding what their actual needs are. And I can say for this housing property project, the logo, like she did it herself. I could have been to her, look, this logo needs to be changed 100%, that needs to be done. But I know that that's going to cost money. So it's finding out what is actually going to bring value first. And then I think once people see, like, rather than me being like, oh, okay, you need to push this, you need to do social as well, this. If I work with businesses and say I'll do their website and they think, oh, that's really good, it sort of opens their eyes, like, oh, actually, could we do it for this? Could we do it for that? And that's a much better way of coming like to people, especially small businesses, rather than being like, you need to change this, it's going to be 4 grand, 5 grand, something like that. Being like, oh, okay, what you actually need now is this. But however, being trying to keep those conversations open as well is important.
No, I really, really like that. And as you say in the conversation that you said spoke about previously, you can give them little hints and tips for in the future. This is what you
Yeah.
might want to consider. And I say, and what I love the fact is that you're willing to grow with the smaller companies, because
Mm.
small companies, small businesses, you know, entrepreneurs and things, if they're just on their first journey, they don't have an abundance of money. It'd be great if we all
Yeah,
thought that we have loads of money, but in reality, small business owners don't. When they start, it's on a shoestring, and obviously as
yeah,
the business grows, and they take on staff and whatever else, but you I think doing it the way that you do has always fascinated me in a good way, because I just
yeah,
think then you're getting in at ground level, you're helping the people that need a hand, and as they grow,
yeah,
you'll be there to support them, nurture
yeah,
them, and as you say, and do more for them as they get
yeah.
bigger.
And yeah, like, yeah, again, for like full transparency, that's ultimately the reason I'm doing the £25 a month for the one page templated website. So just for a bit of context, just for like people who don't know, so I'm currently doing this service where for £25 a month, I design a one page website. It's got a form on there, and it's basically just a one page website that you can show your different products and services and have a professional sort of online presence. But it's for businesses who haven't really got anything at the minute. So they're looking just to get somewhere they can direct people to professionally. And ultimately, I think the way I can process it in my head is obviously it's the time to build, but it's having those relationships at ground level where it means then, for example, say they're like, oh, okay, well, we're a bit more established now. We've seen it's actually working. We're getting more traffic through there. They're much more likely to go with me because we've got that existing relationship rather than going with a new agency. So I think that's why the idea, like again, this idea that you said about was such a good idea is because it's almost getting those establishing those relationships, getting the foot in the door, and then when they want other stuff, say they want graphic design or say they want other things, um, like I'm there. Although I'm very careful at the minute to like I'm just focusing on website design. I've done it in the past where I've been like, okay, I'll do everything, I'll be a full service agency. But the problem with that as well is the time and I don't I'm not really passionate about much else apart from web design. Like I like the graphic design part in parts. I don't really enjoy social media management, to be honest. So I've been very careful now about making sure I niche down into the websites. But again, like in the future, that could change because I can get more people on to do the stuff I don't particularly enjoy.
Yeah, and I think we had a conversation the other day about the fact that ultimately it's what we do in business, isn't it? It's kind of like we do
Mm.
the things that we're really passionate about, and then when we take on staff, we generally take staff on that can do a better job than us at some of the part of the business, and that's the
Yeah,
same with, with companies engaging with you. It's like, yes, doing your own website can be a little bit of fun, but at the end of the day, you're paying for an expert, and let's face it, you're not paying a fortune, for the
yeah,
single page that you're offering.
hmm,
But yes, in any walk of life, if you don't like cleaning or you spend too long doing it and you can afford to do it, you get a cleaner, and you get
yeah,
someone who's better than you. And I think in business
yeah,
especially, businesses understand that if they can't do something, they're happily outsource it
yeah.
until, yeah, and that's how I think that's the same with you in terms of the social media side. It's not something
I
you
think so.
enjoy, but if there's a
Mm.
need, obviously getting
Yeah,
somebody in who's better than you, in terms of
yeah.
social media when the time comes, I think will just give you a whole different avenue for the companies that you work with.
100%. I think it links into as well just the fact you can almost be like a sort of headless chicken running around saying, yeah, I can do everything, I can do this,
Yeah,
this, that. But ultimately, to be able to grow, you need to be efficient. And focusing on one niche means that you can be more efficient because you're doing it all the time. Whereas, say you're bouncing around doing different services, you don't get into that flow of being able to do multiple things at once. And that's what actually, especially when you're starting and it's just you, like what I feel like is when I'm starting, it's just me. My time is so valuable at the minute. Managing my time is really important. So being conscious of what I'm spending my time on is just what I'm really focused on now for sustainability. And then it's also having the courage in the future or knowing when it is the right time to get the people on as well. Because I think that's what I've seen with businesses. I think sometimes it could be scary to get other people in, especially when you're used to doing it yourself. But it's having that sort of, okay, now in order for me to grow, I need to get someone in to do this and being okay with maybe spending more at first, but then being able to do more work and get it more sustainable. And that's something I've not even started doing yet, but it's obviously something you're experienced in with because you have employees and you've been working with people. You obviously no, that's something I've got a question for you actually. Is when was the I asked Lucy a similar question, but when was it the point where you were when you noticed that you need to get workers in to do the job? Was there a certain point where you were like, oh, okay, it's got to the capacity where we can do it ourselves. We need to get some more people in.
I think at the time, as I say, that you'd be surprised to hear on the podcast that I don't really like admin. In fact, I
Yeah.
hate it with a passion. It's not my thing. Lucy, on the other hand, is great at admin. And we got members of staff in when we'd reached our capacity. And I think at the time, I've always enjoyed the teaching side. I've always enjoyed the coaching side, but everything else I can
Yeah.
take or leave. If I have to write a tender, I can write a tender.
Yeah.
Lucy is fantastic at networking. So from that point of view,
Yeah.
there became a point. It was like, well, if we're gonna generate more income for the business, then we need to take somebody on. And I
Hmm.
know you know Jason, so Jason came on
Yeah.
board. Didn't necessarily come on originally as a tutor, but we just saw something in him, so he came on to help the administration, which is not my bag.
Yeah.
We started off doing that, and then we kind of like I wouldn't say sideward moves him, but we asked him, would you fancy tutoring? And he
Mm.
wanted to, and he is such an awesome tutor now. So I
Yeah.
think it was our capacity. So at one point, it was either do we keep at the same level that we're doing, which means we'll have to, stay at the same size that we are, or do we want to grow, and take
Yeah.
more on? So, we have outsourced, as you rightly said, our website's
Yeah.
outsourced. Um, our customer relationship manager, our CRM, the design of it is outsourced. We're outsourcing a lot of stuff that we just
Yeah.
generally just don't want to do, or don't want to learn. We know the basics,
Yeah.
but that's the time that we decided to do it when we'd reached
Yeah.
our capacity. Because as much as I love working, and obviously we're doing this podcast on a Saturday, but this is very
Yeah.
pleasurable. I love this
Yeah.
listen.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
I've got no issue at all with that. But it's just obviously as we, especially because we've got a young family. Well, I say young family. We've got a family as well with 4 kids. So
Mm.
it's about that. When it starts encroaching onto a Saturday and Sunday, which is
Yeah.
our time with the family, then that's when we realise we
That's what
needed,
we need to get.
yeah, we needed help.
Yeah. I think it's probably like really, I keep saying valuable, but that's like the word. I need to think of another word in my vocabulary, to be fair. But yeah, that's probably what's been really valuable is the fact that you've got you and Lucy. So you have got the two people. So it's not just because
Yeah,
that's almost what I'm like taking, into this like new podcast series I'm starting. I'm in talks now, but hopefully working with someone on it. And I think having having that help and having an extra person means that you can do twice as much capacity as if it was just you, and that's probably what's helped you a lot is the fact that you and Lucy can do twice as much.
yeah, and we've got our own specialities and our own skills, and
Yeah.
and as you said, I think with being a solo entrepreneur, it is quite hard because it's just you, isn't it? So unless you
Yeah.
start talking to yourself and answering back, actually having, which is why the mentoring and being part of the Thrive Tribe, I think just gives you that ability that you can throw a question into the WhatsApp chat, and then 30 or 40 people will all give you their little opinion, which ultimately it's up to you whether you take or not. But when
Yeah.
if you message me with a question, it's kind of like, I don't want people to be out there alone, because running your own business, especially if it's just you, is quite a hard slog sometimes. For the
Mm.
right reasons, but
Yeah.
having that support network, and and people like Tommy, your mentor originally,
Yeah.
continues to work with you and be your mentor. But
Yeah.
having those people to bounce ideas, I think it's really important, rather than just thinking it's just you. I mean, obviously, you can ask AI nowadays, which
Yeah.
neatly links me on to my next question. But you can ask AI,
Yeah.
but even then, yes, you can get them to read back their response. But again, it's
It's not the
there's
same as
something.
that
Yeah,
human
yeah,
sort of contact.
and that's why a lot of business owners do networking as well.
Yeah.
It's to get those different opinions and ideas, and we just throw it out there, and and see what people want to make of the problem or the issue that you have.
100%. And that's why the coaching's been really valuable because it's that, as I say, what I mentioned before is linking into that outside, like someone else's viewpoints, not because you're so, especially what I feel like when because I'm doing it by myself, I'm so focused on what I'm doing, and then I have like slight ideas and I pursue that for a bit, I pursue that, but it's actually someone who's got that distance from the business where they can be like, oh, okay, well, maybe think about doing this or maybe this, and that's where it's valuable, because I think as someone who you as someone who's a website designer, I could easily be like a bit cocky and arrogant and be like, oh, okay, well, I know web design. Why am I speaking to Mark? He doesn't know what web design is. But it's actually keeping that sort of humble approach about it, where it's like you'll want to learn from other people,
Yeah.
which is really important. You need to have that's like part of being entrepreneurial, is being the ability to, even though someone isn't in your industry, just listening and thinking like everyone's got some value to add.
Yeah, you know, I love that, and I think, and you will find as you go through life, and I'm sure everyone who listens to this podcast and watches it will have people that they know they'll ask for advice, and you'll be shot down because, again, you know, as you say, you're not in the industry, but at the same time,
Yeah,
you know, business is business, and we all go through the same things when we have a product. Yes, I might, you know, we might not know how the product, you know, the ins and outs of it work, but you know,
yeah,
the concept of what you try and offer, well, what you do offer, you know,
yeah,
for the small businesses, I think is brilliant. You know, in terms of the, you know,
yeah,
the single page, get started with them, and then, you know, you'll grow as they grow as well. But yeah,
yeah,
taking advice.
yeah,
That's the thing. You're always learning. You know,
yeah.
how old you are, and you keep learning. You know,
Mm,
that's the beauty of it.
yeah.
What do you think about AI coming into the space of website design?
So it's something I've been thinking about a lot recently. Just with like, I think tools have been in development for a while, but I've seen it a lot more marketed now, and I think that's why I've been looking at it more. To be honest, AI is used in like a whole range of web design. So it's used, so there's like, you can break websites into certain different categories, but one way you can break them down into is coded websites, low code, and no code websites. And I think what we're seeing now is AI is being able to build the no code websites. Say, for example, like the Wix, the GoDaddy, stuff like that, where it is just templates and building stuff off of that. We're seeing like GoDaddy Aero for one example. There's they're being able to build the same level as someone who would just go on Wix and design it themselves. And AI has only been out a short amount of time. So I think as that gets more and more, there'll be almost shift where it'll get better. It'll get to the point where it can do what I'm doing with Elementor, and then use more in the coded websites as well. I think I am not a coder. I have no clue about code or anything, but I've used tools like Zero, so like V0 and Cursor and Replit, I think it's called, or something along those lines, to create a loader on my website. And the fact that I know no code, but I can still use AI and develop something is like honestly crazy to me. Um, I don't, I'm conscious now that what I'm doing, the fact that how quick AI is going and how it can create websites, I'm conscious that because of the level I'm doing it at, with it still dragging up buildings and then I use a tiny bit of code, that's something which an AI will be able to do in some capacity at some like point of time. So I think the industry will shift forward rather than stopping completely. I think what will happen is I'm looking to shift to more coded websites and designing it and just focus on design and using coders that use AI. I think the industry will move forward rather than it going completely. But there's always the aspect, and what's something that comforts me and I always think back to is, yeah, you can get, say for example, ChatGPT to write some copy for your website, but it's not going to be nearly as good as if a human was going to write it. And yes, they'll get better and better to a certain point, but it's that sort of tone of voice you have, the way of writing. It's the same thing with design. It's the eye you've got for the design, which I think it will take a while for AI to get to that. So in sort of short answer, I'm conscious of it taking what I'm doing now currently, but I think for the future, as long as I keep being innovative and develop, I feel like I should be okay.
Do you know, I love that, and you're right about AI. It's, I think with even with stuff like the template builders, you know, you can usually see what, you know, if it, you know, if somebody's gone, you know, GoDaddy or Wix or whatever, you can pretty much see what they've used template wise because they are so
Yeah,
similar. And I think it's the same with AI. But you know, one of the courses that we do through the job centres, and we get them to use AI to create a personal statement. And if you've
Yeah.
got two people next to each other that just want, retail work,
Mm.
not belittling retail work, but if they just want to go into retail, we ask them to type exactly the same thing into ChatGPT, and they pretty
Yeah.
much get exactly the same answer. And
Yeah.
I think that's the thing, isn't it? And AI is all about what you put into it and what you get out. But I
Yeah.
think it'll be quite obvious as to what's been AI generated and created.
Yeah.
It's what you said. If you just keep yourself one step ahead, I think,
Yeah.
especially with your eye for detail and your design work, you'll
Mm.
always, outbeat
Yeah.
outbeat AI as you go forward.
I think it's also not being scared of AI taking over, but being responsive to work with it, I think is a key thing as well. It's knowing, like, an industry that I think is going to be quite big is, or like a new job that's going to come out of this like AI generation, is being a prompt engineer and knowing what to, because ultimately, like, yes, these tools are good, but you have to know how to use them.
Yeah,
So I think what's going to happen is people's workflow will become more efficient. They'll be able to save time, it will save money. The industry will move forward, but what will ultimately happen is, I imagine, with especially with web design, there'll be a new market where it's not just coded websites, but it's that next level that integrates AI into the whole thing, and being able to improve the, like, sort of UI and UX performance of the website to the next sort of level. So there will almost be like a bottom end of the market that gets cut off, and then it moves forward. And that's how stuff sort of evolve, really, isn't it?
yeah, yeah, definitely. No, no, I love that. Um, I tell you what, I wanted to talk about now.
Yeah.
The final part of the podcast. Now, when I first met you, what intrigued me about you, um, a is the age and the attitude you had towards work when we first met, but also you told me what you wanted to do work wise.
Yeah.
So for most of the people that have seen the podcast before, I have 4 children. I love to travel. I love to, nothing more than I enjoy more of the summer holidays is pulling my kids halfway around the world, and just to show them different experiences. And one of the things I first loved about you, Adam, apart from your expertise with web design, where I first met you, and obviously seeing you at networking events, but
Yeah.
what is the thing that you ultimately would like to do?
Yeah. So my ultimate goal, so what you're sort of like linking into there, is the fact I want to travel with my business. So I've got this dream basically of being, the phrasing for it, that I don't know if it's the right one, but digital nomad is the sort of the job title, I guess you could call it. So I'm very much conscious, so I don't want to have a fixed location. I want to be, almost have the freedom of, because freedom to me, or what I'm trying to work towards, is my time, my location, and my money. So I'm trying to, so my time will come as I grow the business. I'll be able to be sort of more managing it rather than actually in the business. The Did I say location next or money? I can't remember which I said. But yeah,
Location. Yeah.
location. Yeah, well, I'll finish with location anyway. But the money will be as well. Hopefully, if I grow, like when I grow it to a certain point where I can just earn, just do the business, like get a good income for it. But then the location, that's something where a lot of businesses, you can choose to have a fixed address, or you can work remotely. And especially the industry I'm in, I have the ability where I can literally just pop my laptop up like I can now and like I have today, and just work and still have the same workflow. So my dream is to be able to do what I'm doing now, but be able to travel whilst I'm doing it, because like travel is something I really enjoyed. I did it last summer, no, not last summer, 2 summers ago with my brother, and it's something where I want to be able to see the world, especially when I'm young, because the more sort of older people I speak to who haven't traveled, that's something that they regret not doing when they were younger. And I think if I can, because my number one, like, well, not my number one priority, but one of my priorities is the like my work, because I love doing it and I love sort of growing what I'm doing, and I really am passionate about what I do. But as well, I want to be able to travel. So I think linking those two things together is the dream and the goal. And hopefully, like, I've set myself for the end of May, so it's working hard now to try set that up and being able to do so. But that's definitely what I'm aiming to, yeah, become.
I think that's brilliant. As I said, I think there'll be a lot of people listening to this thinking, why didn't they do it? I know there's several people who at a younger age might have had a gap year, might have gone traveling for a year, but I think that's what I've always liked about you, is the fact that you want to go and explore into different places. And as you say, as you get older, priorities change. But when you're young, um, that traveling aspect, and especially in the digital realm, of being
Mm,
able to go and do anything, I think is really important.
yeah.
We actually had a look during lockdown. There was a few countries still looking to take people to work digitally.
Yeah.
And we looked into it, but then we ultimately got a contract that needed us to be more UK based. But
Yeah.
I love to have done that, and as I say, that's probably one of the reasons why we take the kids. But yeah, so to be able to
Yeah.
do what you're doing and set it up, which I know is what you're working hard to do now.
Yeah.
So when you're anywhere, you can work. And to be honest, we've seen people, social media. I'm sure everyone watching this has seen people who are working from anywhere in the world, and
Yeah.
you follow them online. And I find it intriguing. Do you know what I mean? In a good way.
Mm,
I like to
yeah.
see different cultures that you can now experience. You won't remember this, but there's a lot of people watching the podcast will probably remember when our parents had a set of encyclopedias. Yeah, so it was door to door sold. That's what I mean. You're looking
Yeah.
blank Adam.
Yeah. Not a clue.
Yeah,
Not a
yeah.
clue.
So you used to buy one a month for for 26 months, and that was how
Yeah.
we got information. But as you say, over the last 30 years, information's at our fingertips now. So I think that
Yeah.
aspiration, and I know you'll do it,
Yeah.
of working
Yeah.
while you're away, I think is really, really good.
Yeah.
Any
Thank you.
ideas? Sorry.
Yeah, I was just going to add that. Yeah, I'm currently just setting up so I can basically, yeah, do that. So I'm make sure my processes and everything I do is in the back of my mind. Can I do this remotely? Can I do this abroad? So everything from my outreach to actually doing the work to my social media. So yeah, everything's set up so I can just do it from my laptop and I'm not reliant on one location.
Yeah.
And that's something I've actively been conscious of. And social media, that's something which I'm now trying to push because I've realized the benefit of doing bits of it now, starting to build a brand behind it. And then in terms of for the future, I think that social media is going to be something that comes into play to grow my business to that sort of higher level. So if I start now, I can build it to that point slowly. Whereas if I was to become established, then do it, it's a lot harder.
Yeah.
So that's something I've realized the potential in, and I'm just posting like short videos on TikTok, Instagram, just about my like processes, what I'm doing, my plans, and yeah, I'm looking for. I really enjoy it as well, and I enjoy putting my story out there, and yeah, that's what I've started doing.
I think I can't wait for you to see video of you working on a website, with a beach in the distance, and I know obviously people that use Zoom and Teams and things. Yes, you can have a beach backdrop, you can make literally
Yeah,
any drop backdrop you want, but I think to have it in real life and then have somebody to shoot a little video of you showing you the actual, yeah, I think it'd be
yeah,
absolutely amazing.
I think so. Yeah,
Yeah, it'd be brilliant. Where are
yeah.
you planning to go?
So I'm planning to go to start off in Thailand. So I did Southeast Asia, as I mentioned a little bit before. I did Southeast Asia with my brother in 2023 summer, and I really enjoyed it. Not just because it was my brother, that was like an amazing time. The fact I could actually spend it with him. He actually turned 18 out there, so it was kind of mad looking back. The fact he was 17 going out, like fair play to him, and he's off again in on Thursday. So yeah, this video will be out by then. He'll be already traveling and on his way. But yeah, so I did Southeast Asia. I did Thailand, Cambodia, Vietnam, and Laos. And like it just, I don't know how to describe it. Like the amount of people I met and the different experiences. I didn't have like I was in between uni on like summer, so I didn't have any work to do. I was literally just there enjoying it, and I like fell in love with the place almost. And now I'm looking to go back there, do Thailand, Bali, and the Philippines, and they're very like I've researched it and they're quite set up well as well for digital nomads and remote work. So I think that'll work really well. And ultimately, I want to go back there. And my brother's going out there, my girlfriend's going out there soon. So I want to be able to travel, but also keep my work up.
Do you know what? And that's the really cool thing is you're going to be there with friends and the people that you love, which I think
Yeah,
sharing that experience with others, I think, is really, really wonderful. And to be
yeah,
able to keep working out there and make a living, and you've
yeah,
done your research in terms of connectivity and all of that stuff. I think it's
Yeah.
brilliant. You know, so I know the planning that you've put into it has been
Yeah.
quite meticulous, which is
Yeah. It
fantastic.
is. And again, it's like I haven't the thing that I need to grow is the work. Ultimately, I need to get more work in, so I do have the ability to go out there with the budget, and then I also need to be confident enough that I've got strategy in place for outreach or getting work in where I can ultimately get work whilst I'm out there. They're the two main things I'm focusing on at the minute, and I've set this date in mind to end of May, and I'm like aiming as much as I can to get that. But ultimately, I've realised in you can almost put a lot of pressure on yourself for certain deadlines as well. So it's having those deadlines, fixed deadlines, but it's also being okay if that don't happen. It's not the end of the world, but we'll work and sort of change the plan, adapt, and move forward.
Having known you and spoke to you for some time, I know you'll achieve that end of May,
Yeah,
especially with some of the stuff, you know, the way that you've positioned yourself and set yourself up in terms of the social media side and also the work wise. Yeah, I can definitely see you achieving it, and I look forward to
thank you.
following your journey. It's going to be amazing.
Yeah, yeah, I
Until I
can't
get
wait. You
until I cut you off, you have to sing far too many beach locations.
yeah, yeah, that's it. You just get a bit jealous and then
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, that's it.
end the calls.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So where can we find you? At whereabouts are you going to post when you're away?
So I am on be TikTok and Instagram are the main two. I'm on LinkedIn as well. Just yeah, type Adam Waters, may should find me through connections and everything. But yeah, I'll be posting on LinkedIn, more like business related stuff, how I'm traveling, how I'm actually doing it. TikTok and Instagram's more the sort of what I'm doing, a bit of like days in the life, weekends, like how it actually more like sort of video content is what I'm going to focus on. So trying to remember my social handle name now. I'll we'll have to link it somewhere, but
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
I'll put
yeah.
it below when we release the
There you go. Yeah, it'll be in the description, and
That's
then
it.
yeah, give it a follow if you're interested in seeing how I get on. And I'm also showing my sort of processes before I go out there and what I'm doing currently. So yeah, if you're interested in that, it'd be great to get to follow.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Adam. I really appreciate it. I've got
Yeah,
one last question. So, for
cool.
people who are looking to set up their own business,
hmm
what advice do you have for them?
Uh, I think just start. Yeah, you should literally just start. I think most people fall into what I fell into for a year and a half was I was busy by planning and I was busy by trying to set up and think about everything. And ultimately, I was thinking about doing the work. I was planning on doing the work, but I didn't actually do it. There's like, I don't know if you see on like Instagram, it's like planning to do the work, thinking isn't like to do the work isn't doing the work is doing the work. And
Yeah,
it's so true. And it like sits with me. It's just, you have to actually do the work and you have to actually act and like just make stuff happen. And it's all good planning, it's all good setting everything up. That is really important, having all like the vision, the mission. It is really important having a focus, but ultimately you need to just start and you need to just do it. And that's the most important thing is you can get what I did. I think the reason I wasn't starting before is just because I was nervous too. I was worried about like not like failing at it and just worried about not being able to do it well, nothing happening. And although it's been hard, I think the fact now I have just started, it's pushed me so much more forward. And that's just what, yeah, that's what my advice would be. Like literally if you're just in the same position I was, or like thinking about starting a business, just do it and do it. Try to do it for low budget. If you can bootstrap it, yeah, that's a great way to do it because obviously money's difficult, especially when you're young trying to start something. So yeah, just get it started. Think of creative ways to get it started, and yeah, go for it.
I love that. And as
Mm.
I think that there's people out there who will literally want all their ducks in a line before they actually push the button and start working for
Yeah,
themselves or doing something. But
yeah,
as you say, you know, you can spend a long time planning and then never start it. So I
yeah,
love that. You know, it's kind of like I always kind of say, if you're 75% there, release it, start it, because
yeah,
the other 25 you can do when you push the button to start it.
yeah,
If you wait for
yeah,
everything to be 100% perfect, you'll
yeah,
probably never start. And that's the
100%.
key thing.
Yeah,
So yeah, I love that
yeah,
advice. That's really good.
yeah. Thank you.
Adam, thank you very
Yeah,
much for spending the time with us today on the Thrive Tribe Introduces. Thoroughly enjoyed our chat and with your experience in the web design space, what you do. And also, I can't wait to follow you within the next couple of months as you take your work remotely. I genuinely, I'm very jealous. Yeah. So,
Thank you.
whereas you'll be working out there for a lot longer than I go away with the family on holiday. And
Yeah.
I think it's about those aspirations, isn't it? And
Yeah.
for anyone that's young or anyone's got the capabilities to do it now, you can literally nowadays, it goes back to that thing we talk about at schools and university. You can nowadays work from anywhere in the world, given the right industry that you work in. So,
Yeah.
have those aspirations and dreams and follow them, because as you get older and you get responsibilities, things change. So Adam,
Yeah. Thank you for having me on. I always enjoy our chats, and again, as I say, I'm trying to get into sort of speaking more on podcasts, and I do generally enjoy it because it's that. So yeah. Thank you just for having me on, to be honest.
hey, my pleasure. Thank you very much, Adam.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.